Imagine if you're one of these people who has a really good corporate job and you're making between 70 to 100 grand a year, and you just keep wondering, where all that money goes, over time, and you think about, in a way, how you're still living paycheck to paycheck and wondering where that money actually goes. And this is something that a lot of young men struggle with. And why do most young men stay broke? Well, I think the big reason is that uh, we were given this lie early on that a good job equals a good life. And, the more money you have, the more that you should spend it. And I truly believe that is you know, one of the worst types of thinking out there, where you just go out and about and you think that you're doing all this good stuff, but really it's not. And so with that, you were sold this lie of good job equals a rich life. But I really want to go down further on that and just really tell you why, a lot of men, tend to stay broke. And we will talk about that next. So just understand that there are a lot of men out there who are in this, similar path right now. Over 60% of men under the age of 45 have less than $5,000 saved despite steady jobs. And this might explain why they live paycheck to paycheck, because their living expenses are high and they are finding themselves in a little bit of financial turmoil where they don't have enough to save or to invest. And so, with that comes the consequence of saying, okay, it's not really um, what we think, but this is also a problem as well. And with that, you know, if you're grinding the corporate job right now, getting decent pay but still stressing about money every month, that's exactly why. And I'm not trying to be negative or so forth, or thinking, okay, maybe you're a bad person, but what I'm trying to get to is that, what you were told growing up was this lie of getting a good job and then everything else will be taken care of, or it'll just fall into place. It's one of the biggest lies out there. And if you think that way, and you think that live going down this path is the right one, then I challenge you to think about it again. Because if you're making good money from a good job and you're spending all of it and you don't have a lot of savings, then you really got to think twice about that. On the other hand, if you're someone is lose who does not have a job, or you're unemployed and you have little savings, then well, you're not really in the best situation. So really, what do you do in that case? When you're sold this lie, and you have inflation, you have lifestyle creep, and you have the gig economy distractions, this really is setting up a perfect economic storm for, young people, or especially for men. And so this lie that, you know, working a corporate job is good is just not true. Corporate life as we know it, it does create these invisible spending traps where, it's all about status, and then, spending a lot of it. When really what you should be doing instead is to, look to spend less of that money and look to invest more of it into your personal development. And it's something that I talked about in a previous video, where you should be using that money to invest in yourself, and to uh, use it to invest in learn new skills, or to strengthen your skill set and so forth. Because if you do that, then you're putting yourself in a much better position and so forth. And so I will say that, you know the big reason why young men are broke today is because it's due to this idea that they were sold a lie of goods, or that they were told that things are going to be far much better than they are and so forth. And it ends up being something where you wish you could have gotten it, but it didn't end up happening. And with that, with it, I think another reason is that there is a lack of financial education, and this is something that is a big problem right now because with where young people are at today, there's very little or not much financial education out there, or there is no proper financial education in the school system right now, especially in the United States. So now I will say that as far as me, I am still in this corporate, job life right now, but I am actively working to get out of it. And I'm someone who is strict, and I'm adamant about not living paycheck to paycheck. I will say that a good portion of my income, probably 40 to 45% of it, goes towards savings and investing, and a lot of it goes towards investing in myself and developing and strengthening my skill sets. You know, even if it is learning how to do walk and talk videos like I'm doing right now. But it's something that you have to make note of, and really get into this idea of not just living a frugal life, but spending less than you make and spending more of your hard-earned money into things that matter the most in life. Because if you end up staying down this path where you work this good job and you spend most of it, then it's going to be a lifelong struggle, and you'll just be in an endless cycle of financial turmoil. So, but that's something to really think about, and just remember that if you're a young man like myself, you don't have to stay broke until you're in your 40s. Taking small steps right now where you can uh, learn to get on the path to financial stability and ultimately financial freedom can really help you out. And it is something where uh, I tend to want to make the most impact on young people, or especially for young men in my age group. So, but in a way, just remember that it's not bad luck, but we live in a system where it does work against young men who, as much as we want to think that we want to have credibility and we have degrees and jobs and so forth. It's not enough. What you really need more now than ever is uh, just more intentional awareness and be able to, have an interest and desire in financial education and how you can learn how to build financial freedom, whether that's through investing or trading or looking to start your own business. Those are things that you want to keep in mind of. But anyway, that's all I want to talk about. That's all I want to talk about in today's video. If this is something you're interested in and you want to learn some other alternatives to savings, then I encourage you to check out my most recent ebook called Pennyful versus Cash Flow, the best alternatives to savings. And it's a really good deep dive into what else you can do to make the most out of your money, especially if you're a young gentleman. These paths can be a good way to learn how to make the most out of your money, besides maybe a traditional savings account or traditional investing account. So these are all things to keep in mind of. But if you're interested, be sure to check it out via the link below. And uh, you can also, while you sign up for my email list, you can get access to my new app that'll be coming out soon, where I discuss more of these topics in general. And you can see where else you can learn more about my understanding of these topics and how you can make the most out of it. So with that, that's all I got. So if you want to check out that ebook, click on the link below, and we'll touch base soon.